There's a lot of people with on the way things are going, and justifiably so. And I don't want to be hopelessly optimistic in any way because that just leads to downfall. Now, there are benefits to both pessimism and optimism, and perhaps I'll go into that in this rant, but I just want people to understand that you're not alone if you believe the way I believe, right? If you see that there are many, many things wrong with this world, with this country, right? If you believe that common sense is the solution to the vast majority of our problems, right? Because I think you got 10% on this side, 10% on that side that are crazy or whatever, right? I don't really like summing it up that way, but let's say you got the extreme on this side, extreme on that side, and then 80% of us in the middle, right? The populists, right? The vast majority of the population who is not insanely extreme on one polarity or the other, right? We understand the farce of this whole establishment. Maybe not 80%, and definitely varying in extent of comprehension, right? But I do believe that the vast majority of us want similar things, right? And there is a certain disparity right now with all of the things that are transpiring, not only within America, but within the world as a whole. And it's been constricting upon us for quite some time, right? The way that the constrictors work, is they wrap around you, right? And then every time you exhale, they constrict, they squeeze a little bit tighter, right? Until eventually you suffocate to death. Every time you exhale, it tightens. And that is what we've been going through as a species, really, for quite some time. Whenever we exhale, it gets a little bit tighter. And we're finally reaching the choke point, right? And we see this transpiring in a plethora of ways, continually. There is constant division being sown amongst us on emotional trigger points instead of on logic, right? Because I think that if we kind of put our heads together, the majority of the problems are solvable, right? They are technical issues, they are organizational issues, they're common sense problems, right? But we are led to focus on the more destructive aspects of our nature instead of on the creative aspects. And we are creators, right? That is what set us aside from the animals, is our ability to manipulate the outside world, right? We are also very, very good at destruction, right? That is the duality. But we're not alone. Many people understand what is going on. The majority of these people just want to live their lives. They're too comfortable, right? You just want to be left alone, not be involved, and just live. Like, I have a really comfortable life. I have a big house. I have a great kid. You know, he's 9 years old. I love him, right? I got a girlfriend that I love who loves me, right? I have family and friends. Everything's good. Besides what's going on this grander level, but I live in the middle of the woods. Nobody really bothers me. But it bothers me to see all the people that are being bothered, right? Just because I have my own little nest of protection, I don't want to cut myself off from the world, right? I empathize with the plight of my fellow man, and it disturbs me to my core, everything that is transpiring. I'm sickened by it, by the corruption, by just the lies, by the outright manipulation. Okay? Half of the population isn't that smart, right? That's not an insult to anyone, but like obviously if you have any group of people You have half that's smarter than the other half. There's a line somewhere in the middle, right? So if this side is intelligent, this side is unintelligent. It's relatively simple, right? And they're constantly being manipulated, right? There is an insane amount of propaganda. And it's not necessarily just intelligence that dictates your susceptibility to such things, right? There is a lot of indoctrination that goes on in the educational realm, right? But we lack organization, right? The people who aren't scheming and plotting and manipulating, we don't get together to scheme and plot and manipulate. But the people who wish to, they will, and they do. And good people don't understand evil people. Evil people understand good people. This is a big issue. Now, we all have darker sides to our nature. We all have the capacity to somewhat understand people whose motives are not like ours, right? So let's do a little digging just within yourself. Do some examining. Figure out what you have the capacity to handle. And then try to handle that, right? Where you live, in the little realm that you have, the little sphere of influence. Maybe it's a large one, who knows? But try and create, try and better your environment, try and get organized, try and communicate. All right, that's what needs to happen. Go out and meet your neighbors, go have some real conversations, figure out where people stand. Because that's the only way that we're going to be able to manifest the reality that we want, right? Is by going out and physically doing something. Go join your school board. Go run for a local office, right? Volunteer for the voting. You know, you want to be a poll worker? That's fine. Do it. We need it. Try and uphold your values in a world that's constantly telling you what your values should be, right? When you speak, let your words resonate with truth that serve as a testimony to your ideals. Laugh at this farce. Laugh at this game and understand that that's all it is. Don't get wrapped up in the confusion, doublespeak bullshit that they're constantly trying to ram down your throat. Think, expand, read, engage in conversation, try and contribute, try and create. Humans made all this shit. Everything that you see was at one point a person's conceptualization, right? And they brought that into reality. And then generation upon generation, information compounds, technology compounds, right? And we live off of the success of our predecessors. And we somehow feel entitled to it. And we try to tear it down. We try to destroy that which we are unworthy to possess. So let's start becoming worthy and then exceed it and add to it, build to it. Let's leave a better world for our children. Let's leave better children for our world. Now, this isn't a call to arms, but it is a call to action. Like, what are we going to do? Like, I created this YouTube channel and a Minds account so that way I could have conversations that I'm not able to have or expand my sphere, right? And I've met some interesting people. I've had some great conversations, right? I've had positive and negative feedback. That's great. That's awesome. I don't know. Do something. But if we don't, Reality is going to be determined for us. We're not going to be actively participating in its creation. We will just be subject to its dictates. And right now we got the plotters and the schemers manipulating it. And that's not what we want. We want it to have a foundation of truth, common sense, principles. We want people to have a general level of success, or at least a chance at success, right? We want a better life for ourselves and for our families with minimal intrusion. Like, it isn't that difficult. Clean food, water, you know, our food is poison, our water's poison, right? Then you got a whole other plethora of agencies and corporations and states and governments, and an entire spectrum designed not for your betterment, but for the betterment of a very few. And now, it's not communistic or socialistic. There's been outright injustices done continually, and they need to be rectified, right? If there's no justice at the top, or if breaking the law only requires a fine, then that means the law only applies to the poor, right? We need to have equal justice, and that is not what we see. And so that eliminates all justice, right? We're trying to be divided by emotional subjects, race, religion, political stance. Come on. We're better than this. So do better. Be better. Elevate your consciousness and let your existence radiate truth. We have more in common with each other than those that want us to fight.